All right, everybody, welcome in to this week's episode of the DNVR Rapids podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Carroll, joined by the best Rapids team in the whole world. We got the super producer, Yahir Vazquez. My guy.
What up, people? How you guys doing today?
How Yasolina meter?
Yasolina Rapids is high. Yasolina personal life, it's kind of low, man. I'm tired.
We're going to bring it up. Duane Brown, downtown Duane Brown, art director for All City Network and Rapids extraordinaire. Duane Brown, how are you, bud?
Wow. Yeah. I'm doing pretty great with that intro, man.
Extraordinaire, you like that?
Resume with that action.
Guys, thank you so much for coming in tonight. We have, as always, we're presented by Ibaka TV. We got a lot to talk about. Big result this weekend, even if it was a draw. It's still, that RSL game, there's plenty to take away from that. Maybe any leftover talk we have from the Mac trade and looking at the transfer window. And then looking forward to this week, we have 2 home games this week. We got Orlando City tomorrow night, LA Galaxy on Saturday. So lots of points on the table this week. Lots can happen, especially with an open transfer window. But first, Duane, you want to tee this one up for me. Go ahead. We're going to talk a little bit about the Rapids Select.
Yeah, we want to cover. So we didn't cover this in the post show because this match was happening during the post show. After the first team was playing, our Colorado Rapids unified team was playing this weekend also against Real Salt Lake. It was 3-1 Real Salt Lake, but we did start it off early with took an early lead with a goal from Trace Hotran with Enzo Muncie on the assist. So it was nice to take an early lead. And then, things went the other way after that. But just awesome always to have our unified team out there competing. If you've not been to a unified match after one of our first team matches, you got to go. It's so much fun.
Rapids Unified, if you're not familiar with Rapids Unified, this is the team associated with Special Olympics. You've seen Wallace Abubakar doing a lot of work with them. They come to signings and press events with him. He's super involved. It was really cool what the Rapids did with the unified team this game. They flew them out. They had their own team bus. They had their pregame meal at the hotel. They were given the full road game experience of a senior team, of a senior MLS team, and they got to experience that. Really cool stuff. Really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, and they get to hang out with the other team as well. So not quite as much angst between the unified teams as there is between the first teams. But it's just cool. It's an awesome program. We've got great athletes, and just to highlight just the talent of some of those, we did have some good news as well. A little bit while ago it was announced, but our coach, Molly Underly, and one of our goalkeepers, Shelby Rains, was named to the USA women's team for Special Olympics Unified Cup 2022. And that's in Detroit in July 31st through August 6th. So coming up pretty soon. And on the guys team from Colorado, Aiden Ramirez, who's a striker, was named to the guys team. So just really cool stuff happening throughout the whole organization. And, it's always fun to be able to highlight all of our teams, whether it's the first team or Rapids 2 or Rapids Unified. It's just great for us to be able to cover all of that. And if you don't know that Unified is out there, now you do. And I'm inviting you personally to join me.
Come hang out with Duane. Yeah.
Yeah, the next one at home will be, hang on, I wrote it down here. It's going to be August 13th. So that's going to be following our first team match versus Columbus. All you have to do, if you want to watch Unified, is after the first team's match is done, hang out, move to, if you sit on the ends, move right down to the middle as close up as you want. It's general admission after that, and cheer on our unified team. And then in September, they travel again out to Galaxy, and we'll be playing against Galaxy's travel.
Awesome.
And the match after Crew is actually going to be against Switchbacks unified team. So,
cool.
Yeah, to be kind of an in-state.
Well, derby action.
Yeah, so pretty cool stuff.
Love it. Yeah, you can watch the Pids beat Cucho, and then you can watch the unified team pick up a dub against the Switchbacks. Love to see it. It's actually a really nice little transition. Wallace is like the guy on the first team that spends a lot of time with unified. He's a big ambassador for him. Great with the kids. There's a lot, Rapids are very active with their socials and following that team and those press events and stuff like that. And seeing him work with them is always really cool. And conveniently, he was kind of the hero of the game this weekend against Real Salt Lake. It's he set us up perfectly for a segue, and he didn't even know it. We talked for a long time with Wanners after the game, about it, but 48, 72 hours later, whatever we're at, how are you feeling about the result? I mean, obviously it was just a draw, but it did buck a lot of trends, multiple goals on the road, a comeback, a lot of things that the Rapids haven't been able to do. Where's your head at with this team after that result?
Kind of after that result, man, it got to give you that glimmer of hope. It makes you think this team has some fight in them. It makes you think the whole team has some dog in them, which is something Horners is all about, the dog. And just kind of see them fight back really gives you that hope in that kind of, how can I say it, that feeling that they found something within themselves, that they're going to be able to push. There is some hope that they will be able to turn things around and make a push for that final spot of the playoffs, or maybe even look for that home game, which I don't think is possible anymore, but it might be. Mathematically, they're not eliminated from that. So you never know. So that's the thing. I feel hopeful again for this team. For the first time since I want to say that LAFC game, I feel hopeful about this team.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable feeling at this point. Positive regression is on the way. Like, whether it's this game, we keep saying, all right, they're going to put it together, but the math says they will, right? Like, the stats say they will. Positive regression is real. It happens in sports. You can almost bank on it. Duane, we didn't talk to you after the game. Were you able to watch the derby? And
I watched.
How'd you feel about the draw?
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the first half. I got to watch the second half. Which was the not as great half until the end there when you got
to see the 20 minutes of good Rapids. So
I'm thankful for that. Look, it's been 5 matches. We don't have a win in 5, so it was nice to get a point. It's great to steal a point or two away from Real Salt Lake, who's doing well, up in the bracket and in the tables, and so that's cool too. But I think what makes me the most happy is that they didn't roll over after another mistake in extra time,
right,
which could for me soul crushing. But for the Rapids, not so much anymore, which was really nice.
I was bracing for it, man. I was so ready for a 93rd minute winner from Real just to shank us in the gut, dude. I was so ready for that. But no, you're right. I mean, they showed some dog. The team showed some dog.
They put some bite into it, and that's what I've been. That's what I've been mentioning the whole season is I want this team to have a little bit of bite to them, get a little bit feisty, and get after it. I think we saw some of that. Is it enough to get into the playoffs? Look, man, like this is like the steepest hill to climb at this point. So there's a long way to go to get into the playoffs. A lot of things have to happen. Is it, are we eliminated yet? No. Things could totally happen. But it's a long shot. Look, let's be realistic. It's a long shot at this point.
It's a long shot.
But it's not impossible. And again, like I said, I think in the chat, in the post game, is that I think back to that Hudson season when Hudson got the boot. We went on a really amazing run after that, and that could happen again. Who knows? But
yeah.
It's like it is. It's every game. So we got tomorrow coming up, and we'll see how we do with that, and then we'll have the conversation again.
Mm-hmm.
After.
So they have four of 6 at home, right? Like that's a beautiful start to a comeback within the season and within the table. Is having 4 of 6 at home. Now, one of those road games is at Seattle, which is, while they did get kind of housed by Portland last weekend, it still is going to Seattle, and that's going to be intimidating no matter what.
They got housed by the Raps more than they did the Portland, honestly, in that game.
Yeah,
the refs made it really hard for them to get.
But a 3-0, 3 points. I mean, doesn't matter how you get there. That's big.
No, it is. It's huge for Portland. I'm just saying. That does not indicate nothing of how well Seattle played.
Sure.
Indicates everything about all the bounces going towards Portland.
Pull up Cody's there. This is the thing we can take away, man. This is like, Cody. Shout out Cody, man. You're always in here. Love to see it. Team showed a ton of grit in the final minutes. It was really nice to see. That is the takeaway. And Duane said it perfectly. They did not roll over. And this team has regularly rolled over. And, I don't know if it's rolled over, but if it's 2 goals on the road, you might as well get the bus warmed up, right? Like, make sure there's hot water in the locker room for showers. Like it's over when other teams go up. And they were down 2-0, and it was less than 10 minutes of game time. Obviously, there was a halftime in between, but it was, pretty quick succession, down 2-0, to have Rubio play the villain, earn that penalty, which, I think it was a penalty. I don't think it was a terrible call or anything. I think it was.
I thought it was Barrios, the one that got the penalty.
Sorry, yes, to see Barrios, but Rubio was getting under everybody's skin. He was playing the villain, and then he buries the penalty. And then Wallace with a basically carbon copy of his goal from the week before. It's just really cool to see, man. He's this is exactly what you're looking for. And granted, Max missed a sitter, and there's a couple other headers on set pieces you would want back. Zardes especially, I think he had 4 corners that hit him in the head, right? Like you would want one of those to convert. But like I said, I think positive regression's on the way, and I think Orlando's the perfect team for that. You saw some young guys play. Yaya Toure, Yaya's guy, Yaya got to play. Are you still juiced about that? You still feeling it?
If you actually look at the thumbnail, I caught Yaya.
I knew you put that in there for a reason. I knew it.
Well, I'm not as hyped because I do love Yaya, and it's not just Yaya that I was happy to see in there. I'm happy that they're starting to turn the page and see, hey, what do we have in the works? What is their system going to produce? I've said it last podcast, and I'll say it again. If Colorado's going to be successful, they're going to have to be an FC Dallas. They're going to have to be a factory of talents. They're going to have to prove that their system is something that players want to come to and develop in. That's how the Rapids will be successful. You got to follow that formula because the Cronkies or whoever is not going to spend that money to bring in big-name players. You're not going to see a Gareth Bale here. You're not going to see a Carlos Vela here.
You mean Lingard isn't signing with us? He's not in the States to sign with the Rapids?
Luis Suarez, not as much as I would love to see these guys.
Suarez.
As much as I would love to see these guys come and don that burgundy and wear the crest with pride, it's just not going to happen due to money issues. Maybe even location.
Yo, there's no money issues in the Cronky Bank account now,
It's not, but it's the money issue that they don't want to spend it.
Yeah, that is an issue for sure.
And it's also it's also do the Rapids really need that? I don't think they do. They're not a play that's going to get big talent, so they have to become a developmental team. They have to be a squad that brings players from the lower ends and builds them up like FC Dallas has done for years, and then bring in some other players from down south, from Europe, like Nicholson, where you got Price and all that. And that's how the Rapids are going to be. And that's how the Rapids are going to be successful from now on. And that's how they should run their system. And that's why it makes me happy to see guys like Yaya Toure, Marquinhos, Mayaka, and all these guys get their chances with the first team, because that means that they're moving towards that. And that means that the Rapids will be good. Maybe not right now, but they will in the future for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, Cody. That's right, baby. You'd love to see it. That'd be so sick. He could win. I was talking with some of the guys. I was over at practice today, and I was talking with some of the communications staff. Like, Lingard could sign with someone and win the Golden Boot this season, I think.
Oh,
like, he wasn't a Premier League, he wasn't that great in the Premier League, at least in his stint at United, but I think he could come into the MLS and win the Golden Boot this season with an 11-goal head start for whoever's in first place. Who knows? I mean, look, Tim Howard didn't have to sign with the Rapids. He could have signed anywhere in the U.S. He's a legend. He's a men's national team legend. He was a Premier League level keeper, and he signed in Colorado. Jermaine Jones signed in Colorado. Granted, he only played 8 games or something like that, but I don't think it's impossible for the Rapids to get a name guy, especially when Kroenke Sports has a Super Bowl, a Stanley Cup. Arsenal's doing Arsenal things. They were competitive. They almost were there at the end of the Premier League season. I'll say this. I don't think the Rapids are done by any stretch. I think there's going to be moves for starting level players. Joseph, get out of here with that. I'm not Schalke bias popping up. I don't even know what you mean by that. What did I say? I didn't even say anything about Schalke. Good Lord. Catching strays for no reason.
Were you talking about a player?
Jermaine Jones, but he played for the Pids. What are you doing?
Barely. Wasn't he injured all the time?
There are goals on YouTube with him wearing the Rapids kit.
Technically, he played for the Pids.
Technically, yeah.
He scored goal. Look,
dude, you are a little bit biased on Jermaine Jones, but I get that because he's one of your favorite players. That's completely valid.
I don't want to hear it. Okay. So you're looking at this team, and and watching practice today, you saw the young guys heavily involved. Max was doing a lot of the first team set piece work as sort of the front target guy. If a short cross comes in or something, he can either send it further down the line or kind of hit that near post. It was good to see him. It's funny because Lucas is the only other Portuguese-speaking player, and he was set up on the other end of the set piece, so they would be chirping at each other in Portuguese down the line. Max's organizing was pretty good. I heard him in the hallway, outside the locker room, having his few words he has there back and forth. But he's definitely settling in, and you see Marquinhos getting some run. You see Yaya getting some run. They're definitely active. Duane, would you want to see them just go youth movement, or do you want to see them go get a starting level midfielder or starting level center back or something like that to sort of reinforce this season and try and make a playoff push?
Well, I mean, I thought we were all in on the blessings for the Rapids. It sounds weird, but it's I don't even know at this point.
Right.
I think there are enough needs, that my biggest concern with the Rapids is the back line. Nothing's going to trump that for me. So it's gosh, I've been talking striker for years, and now it's I'm not even talking that anymore because I'm just for tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Rapids DP striker need is still.
Orlando's not a high-scoring team. They don't score a lot of goals. They're very much like the Rapids, but with our back line, gosh, man, I don't know. I'm still worried about a team that doesn't even score very many goals. So,
right.
That's kind of where all of my attention right now is on that. And if we pull in some other things, I would like to see what Priso does, like what's that going to turn into? I mean, I don't know. Midfield is not as much of a thing for me as it is backline right now.
Priso's not with the club yet. He wasn't there today. They're still working on getting him in from Canada. He's definitely on a max level in terms of like can be a piece, has the tools. He has more production at MLS level because he's actually scored goals for an MLS team and
but he's going to be great for defense too, and that's
he's going to be great. He's got that down.
Let's get him.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think like I would really like to see a center back, even though I do think Gustavo Vallecilla is a guy. Like I think he's an MLS legit, has a chance to be a top tier MLS defensive player. He's huge. He's more athletic than anyone on the field. It was interesting. He wasn't working on that corner group today towards the end of practice, and he wasn't with the other group. Shooting and stuff. He was doing some like private work with the coach one-on-one in the middle of the field. And I don't really know, what that means, but to me, he fits the bill, athletic, has a high ceiling. I'd love to see him get minutes and then maybe also go bring someone in, right? Like Chelsea's gone. He's off the team sheet. He didn't make the trip to Utah. He was on his way to England and, as a stopping point on his way to whatever club he gets loaned out to. Still not officially worked out yet, but I think center back is definitely the move. Man, who knows though? I was talking to Keegan for a long time, and he feels, the team feels like every group. There's obviously stuff to work on, right? Mistakes are made, and
sure.
and you can't be in 12th place and feel great about what you're doing. But the team is very positive right now. Like the team is really positive. They feel like there's that positive regression coming, right? They're going through a season where they're like, how are these results happening where we're playing better and not winning, right? So I don't know. I mean, Porig is going to be active. He's never not going to be active. I think he's that kind of guy where he has a bunch of different pots on the burners, whether it's South America scouting, MLS moves, youth guys, whatever it is. And picking up that international thought from Toronto is huge too, because you look at some of the guys. Half the team is from South America. It feels like, between Diego and Galvan,
which is awesome. That's what we were clamoring for that. When Porig first came in, everything was, Europe, and we were just like, we are like South America's right there, like go there, and so. Yeah. And it was frustrating to not have that, and now we have that, and we're starting to see some results, which is cool. So I hope that continues, and I hope that whoever the scouts are for the PIDs, like, I hope they're doing their work, man, because I don't mean that. I don't mean that to come out negatively. I mean that as like in an excited way,
Sure.
Like I said, it's a long way to the playoffs from where we are now, but it could be some really amazing moves. And even if we don't make the playoffs, we could still be watching good soccer, for the rest of the season, because that's where it gets worrisome. It's like once everybody knows that we're probably out of the playoffs, like the stadium is more empty than normal, which is very empty. And it just gets not as fun, so
right.
Yeah, and that's on us as supporters, it's like you still got to show up, and it can still be fun, when we're there, cheering on the team. So
right. I mean, if they're out of it, let's say they are out of it, right? Like let's say the stretch of 4 or 6 home games, let's say it doesn't go well, right? Like, although I do think it's tough to predict that they won't do well at home.
Sure.
If that is the case, all of a sudden you have guys like Yappy, Mayaka, Yaya, Gustavo, Max. Like you have guys that they can just flood the field with, get those guys 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes a game, and really see what they have in them, because, Right, and there's only so many guys, like Zardes, could they re-sign him? Yeah, it's possible they could re-sign him if it starts to click, but Rubio's a lock, Alvan's a lock, Jack's a lock. Is anyone else? Yarby's obviously a lock. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else you would consider a lock for next season? There's guys I would like, but and there's guys whose contract are likely to be back. But I just think there's so much to watch. Whether they do turn it around and turn it up and just pile up points, here for the next whatever games, or if they're out of it. I think there's a ton to look out for, and it's tough to fill the dick as we've seen in the past. But it would be a shame if all of a sudden they were out of the playoffs officially and just no one showed up.
Yeah, and that's where I think like you're saying, like getting some of the kids in, and seeing what they got, and hey, maybe they turn it on and they play exciting soccer that we've been waiting for. And we, I've said this before, and we just go in and play spoiler and just wreck the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I would love to go in and just destroy the playoffs if we can't get in it.
That's sick.
Burn it down, like that's what I want to see from the kids,
Yeah, I mean, let's see. Cody in the comments says if that were to happen when we miss the playoffs and we stop showing up, that's our seed at the playoffs. I agree, man. I think it does.
Totally.
I don't think it necessarily eats at the players. There are certain players that it eats at. There's a certain type of player, type of personality of a professional player where that would matter, right? Where it does matter if you don't have a full stadium and if people are supporting you, right? There's guys, but then there's guys who understand and feel the same way you do that are upset, right? This team is not crazy stoked that they're having a bad season. I can tell you that right now. They do all wear it. I will say this locker room is really good. And I know Wanders was speaking to, he heard through the grapevine that maybe there were some locker room problems. Everything I've heard in the last, since the trade, from whoever I know over there, and just from watching them interact at practice and stuff, that's not the case. This is a good locker room. This is a team that likes playing together. It's really funny after practice. So they all practice in field 20, which is on the northeast side of the stadium. The last field, so stadium parking lot, that field there.
Yep.
So they all get to work, right? They all get in the locker room, get their gear on, and then Brian Acosta drives all the Spanish-speaking guys just across the parking lot and parks, and they all pile out together, get their practice in. They all pile back in together and drive, the whatever 200 yards to the players' parking lot. And it's for me to think that they won't see some of that positive aggression. It's just and I know I keep saying it, and I keep thinking, I keep saying oh, this is the week we get 3 goals. Oh, this is the week there's going to be a goal fest, and it's it hasn't happened. But you can't be -8 from what your XG says you are and where you're at for too long. At some point, that run of play goes your way. Is it this week? Orlando. You seem worried about Orlando. To me, Orlando's the team you want right now. Orlando's give me Orlando when we're on.
I mean, this is gonna sound more negative than I mean it to. I'm worried about every team we play because I'm a Rapids
fan. And that's fair.
It's just that these two teams, if there is a team that is very equal to the Rapids, it's Orlando. I mean, goal differential is pretty much the same. The number of goals is about the same. It's a very even matchup, and I think the team that wins this match is going to be the one, with the dog, and it's going to have to be that.
Got the dog.
Who's got it? That's going to be
Orlando
the difference.
Right now, they are at 28 points and fifth.
Yeah, they're in the playoffs. They're solid in there. Yeah,
with a -4 goal differential. They've only scored 24 goals.
And I
8
think
wins, 4 draws, 7 losses. Rapids are at 21-4, 26 against, -5, and 20 points. Think about the Rapids, man. Portland has 20 games played.
Orlando is the Rapids if all of those goals don't go off the crossbar.
Right.
That's the difference. Like that's the position the Rapids would be in the West. You know, they'd be that Orlando team. You know,
it's the run of games. So like if you look at the games they've played better and haven't gotten a win out of, right? So that's Houston, Dallas. You can't say Nashville because they gave up 3 goals. If it was like even 2-0, I would say Nashville. You know, there's just like how many games if you gave them 3 points on that, they'd have a home playoff game right now.
Yep. Exactly. I
mean,
they're coming off a win, you know, given off of an own goal, but you know, coming off a win is a win. You know, they've got good momentum. You know, the Rapids. I don't know how the team feels about it, whether that's momentum to claw back and get that point from Salt Lake or not. But if it is, you know, it's 2 teams coming in fairly equal with, you know, the same kind of momentum coming in. So, I mean, I think this could be a very good match to watch. You know, it's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be a very good match to watch, or it's going to be a very low-scoring, boring match to watch. But I do think the Rapids are going to come out firing this time after last.
Let's hope so. Look at this Joseph stat. Joseph is the guy with stats, man. If you don't read Joseph's blog about the Rapids, he had a really good preview up today about the Orlando game. Go ahead and check that out. 8 games where they won the XG battle and didn't get the win, and only 3 total points from those games.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and look, it sucks, but it's only July, right? So you have the rest of the games in July, which I mean you have 3, maybe 4 more games in July, all of August, all of September, a couple games in October. Like, it is very doable if the positive regression is real. Yeah, do you believe me? I keep saying it. Am I going to will this into existence? We actually, like,
I don't think positive regression is a real thing.
What?
I don't think it's a real thing with this team, for the reason that no, like, well, hear me out. The reason I don't think it's a real thing is because the team has changed so much. They've lost a lot of key contributors. Maybe if they had kept the key contributors they lost last year, like Kalen, Bassett, Vines, I think that's the way that you can see, like, hey, you know what, there is some positive regression here. But like the amount of key contributors they lost, I think it's kind of hard that there's going to be positive regression. I think it didn't help that one of your big acquisitions, which was Max, took forever to get here. So it's taken him forever to acclimate. It wasn't all Costa also having some issues getting to Denver, or it took a while to get here.
I think so.
But little things like that don't let you gel. And it kind of felt from the beginning that there wasn't a leader, even though I think Jack Price is the leader. And I think that he's very good at like commanding what this team needs. I felt like they were missing a little bit of a vocal leader, somebody that could tell the team, hey, you're fucking up here. Hey, you're fucking up here. And again, I'm looking this from the outside in because I don't know how they operate from the within. But it felt like they lost that a little bit when Kalen was gone. It felt like Kalen Acosta was that guy that was screaming on the pitch and telling, hey, you got to get on this position. Hey, you got to come over here. Hey, you watch your backside. In that communication, I feel like was lost between all 3 levels of the game.
No, I think that's fair. I will say the locker room, and we did. Yeah, that's right.
That's going to be the new shirt, Mercholina.
But the team, I don't think you can point to locker room troubles to any sort of struggles for this team this year. Not from what I've heard / seen of them interacting in outside of the game. You know, I think it's an easy thing to be like, oh, well, you know, all these fluky results and them giving up, they must not like each other. That's not it. They, you know, even Max, who's trying, you know, who doesn't really speak the language, he's working on his English all the time. He has an interpreter with them. He's, you know, he was just sitting outside the locker room today, and as the whole youth team came in and out, as Rapids 2 came in and out, as the players were leaving, he was saying what's up to everybody. I really don't think it's an issue. Now, does that solve these mental mistakes here and there, these little fluky goals and little 10-minute lapses where all of a sudden the game's out of reach? No, that does not solve it. And I asked Keegan if those kind of losses are harder than, where it's hard fought, but they earn a goal against against good defense and they scrap and you end up losing. And he said it's a lot harder to lose in these fluky ways because you don't really know what to point to, right? You don't really know besides like, man, we shouldn't have, Danny probably should have headed that instead of letting it go back, or it's little things like that, and it's really hard to when you feel you did so good, and unfortunately that's happened in how many of these games over the last 2 months, right? So I think Orlando's the right game. I think it is. I think this is a game where the team is feeling good. You have guys like Wallace, who's a big locker room guy, big in the community. He has a huge game, kind of bucks a whole bunch of trends for the road. And, Yahya, how are you feeling? Is the Yaselina full for the Orlando game? Do you think it's 3 points?
Oh, yeah, dude. That's the thing. Like, that's how I thought about this team, like the positive regression. That's how I thought about this team maybe before the RSL game.
Sure.
After the RSL game, and I saw some fight, I feel like this team found a new spark in them. I feel like they looked at each other. Well, yeah, I feel like they looked at each other and said, hey, we got each other's back. We got to win this out for us. Nobody's going to do this for us anymore. That's what it felt like. I'm all in. I think it's a 2-0 victory, man, if I'm honest.
Sure.
I think it's either a 2-0 victory or a 3-0 victory. I think they go out there and they prove that last year wasn't a fluke.
Right.
One game will change that, but they will look at themselves and look, last year wasn't a fluke. We are a good team. We do have talent, and our coach is one of the best coaches in the MLS, no matter what. It's a coach that should have won Coach of the Year. And I think they're going to go out there and prove that tomorrow and show that they have that fight, they have that dog, they have everything that's needed to get the 3 points and turn the season around and push for that last playoff spot.
If you go Saturday to Saturday and put 7 points up, Duane, you got to feel good.
Yeah, I would feel great about that. I mean, for me, so Orlando's already in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. They have more to play for right now from that standpoint. Strictly from a points point, just talking numbers. The Rapids, I think, have more to play for in the sense that I think this game tomorrow night is a morale victory for both the guys on the squad and also for fans. Like this is one that we lose, it's going to do some damage, I think, both to the team and to the fans. We win, and I think everybody's on Mercholina, Yaya-Lina, everybody's on the Lina at that point. On the Fanolina.
That better not be anybody's sister, man. I do not want to be on anybody's sister.
Invisiblina.
I do not want to, I hope that's nobody's sister's name or something like
Invisiblina.
Invisiblina's. So
the Duane Alina.
No, and what you brought up from Cody, I agree 100%. I think this should be the match where the Rapids come out swinging, and I think they are. I think that first 5 to 10 minutes is going to be pretty speedy from the Rapids. So,
and I'll get into that. I want to get into just a little bit more of the game, of who to expect to be in that lineup, what to see, subs wise and all that. But first, we got to talk about the homies over at Evoca TV.
Yeah, we do.
All last week, we had 2 people on at the minimum who are Evoca TV customers, between Yaya and Wanners. Look, Evoca TV is the real deal, man. If you want to watch the Rapids on altitude, get Evoca. You don't have to stream anything. You don't have to get expensive cable packages. You don't have to lock yourself into crazy long contracts. They have altitude. If you're a Rockiesman, if you're a Blake Street Bombersman, you want to get into the Crone Zone, you can watch AT&T Sportsnet. You can catch all those games. It's as easy as it gets. It's a whole new way of doing sports programming. You can get a DVR so you can rewatch this Orlando City win over and over. Look, I think I just don't know why you wouldn't have it. This is your last season where you can watch altitude and see that team, that broadcast team covering the Rapids. You can go to evoca.tv/DNVR. Use promo code DNVR. It's only gonna be $15 a month for 3 months for you if you do that. There's no hidden fees. You just have to pay for the receiver and pay your monthly rate. Your rate gets locked in for 2 years. You're not locked into a contract, but your rate is locked in. And it's 100% worth it. So go ahead and sign up for Evoca TV, and you won't be let down. You get to watch your Pids. You get to watch the Burgundy boys rally for a big win against Orlando. So let's get into that game. Number one, don't expect us to play. He basically zero work with other players at practice today. I'd be shocked if he played. So pencil in that same lineup that we saw, right? Which was Costa, Max, and Rubio holding down the midfield. Seems a little offensive heavy, right? Like if that's 4 guys back, we're a little nervous, right? Yeah. I mean, how do you feel about those 3 holding down the midfield?
I'm okay with it. I think they showed something. Again, I think it's all about the attitude they come out with. I don't think it's gonna have to do anything with what the lineup is. I think it's all gonna depend on the attitude, because I really do think almost every player on this team is talented enough to make the lineup work to whatever Fraser thinks. So no matter what the midfield is or whatever the lineup is, it's all going to depend on the state of mind. Saying that, I'm really hyped to see what Max can do with back-to-back games.
Yeah, I mean that's the guy, right? That's like to me, the swing player in this game is Max, right? If he can make an impact from that right side of the midfield, whether it's just keeping Mikey or Sam running up that right side, right? Whether it's kind of being the fallback option if one of those runs doesn't produce fruit, and they can kind of send it back and reset to him, and he can either send it over to Lewis or up to Rubio in the middle, something like that. I just think there's so much depends on him. And look, he's got to be so hungry after that sitter that he missed, man. He has to be so. I watched it again, and what I think happened is that center back's coming towards him, and he was playing it that he was just going to try and slide and block it further away. And so kind of threw off what he was trying to do. Either way, he was probably thinking just a little too much. And I hope he gets into the run of play. At least that's what I think. I mean, Duane, is he thinking too much? I mean, that's what I saw from Max, was just too much going on up here and not enough going on with his feet.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think that's normal when you're still somewhat new, is that you're trying to remember everything that Fraser said and everything that Jack probably said, in the locker room. And it's just not that sort of, gelling, that natural kind of fit yet. So, I think that makes total sense. And once he gets out of his head, like Yahya was saying, like I'm excited to see him get more minutes and back-to-back, matches. I think is going to be cool because he is going to get more comfortable.
Yeah, man, that's tough to see, Joseph, man. You're bringing it down, man. You're making Von Schalke. You're putting in these sad balls out, man. We need some Joseph leaving. You know what I'm saying, dude?
The Schalke stuff is whatever to us.
Sad face.
Schalke's fine.
Sad face emoji.
Yo, get Cody's up. Forget Joseph's sad stuff. Cody's bringing fire today, dude. Come out with 25-minute hat trick. Let's go, dude. Could you imagine? No, I do expect him to find some sort of impact on the score sheet, whether that's an assist. And if it's not on the score sheet, it's like a hockey assist. It's like a good play in the midfield that leads to something.
So, since we're all kind of looking forward to Max, and hopefully he can have a bounce-back game. Because I don't feel he played bad. I just feel like he didn't capitalize on what he did do. What would be a good game for Max? If you what would quantify a good game for you for Max?
Low
Because I think he's
turnovers.
going to be just for this one game.
Low
Because I think he's going to be the
turnovers
focal point of this for
Yeah.
all our feelings for sure.
I would say low turnovers and high completion percentage passing. If he gets on to, if he can get ahead onto one of these, because he was like I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say, but it's public practice, so almost every set piece he was the closest on the line towards the free kick, whether it was on the wing, a corner, whatever it was. He was kind of that front guy. So whether it's a header, send the ball down the line, as long as he's just making positive impact, right? Like, is he the best defender on the team? I don't think so, right? Like, is he? I don't expect him to dominate the game defensively, but if he can, if he can just continue the ball, right? Like, don't be a ball stopper, don't overthink it, low turnovers, right decisions. He doesn't need to get an assist or a goal, although I think everyone would want to see it to call it a good game. The thing I'm looking for is Nicholson. And Duane, you're longtime season ticket holder. You saw Nicholson play a lot in person on his first game. He didn't play the whole second half, so you didn't get to see a ton of his first run. But you do, you have watched this team all season.
Saw him in the before times. So
dark days.
Sam was one of my favorite players when the first time he was here. So I don't know what his game looks like now. It's been some time. So I don't know what that means. But he's another one of those guys that, like a Lewis or like a Barrios, that's going to put on a lot of speed down the side, and like that's where you're going to see him make his move. So I love that play because I sit in the corner, and it's like,
right.
My 7-year-old daughter and I are going to be there tomorrow, and and we're going to watch Barrios.
That'll be Lewis's side
down the
that'll
corner.
be where Lewis is, right?
So no, usually it's Barrios coming down our side.
Oh, okay.
In the first half, or no, towards C38. So,
got it.
But it's always Barrios coming down our side if he starts. So
it'll be Nicholson. Yep.
Yeah,
I thought you were on the other corner there. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I love it because I get to watch it, as a fan and also as somebody who gets to be on our team and talk about it. But as a fan, man, it's just fun. I love to see him burn it down the side, and we'll see what the crosses look like. But my bold take, Zardes gets a goal. It's gonna happen.
I think Zardes braces.
You know my feelings about Zardes, so that's very bold.
That was my question, because I think we're all in agreement that we're really hyped about Max this game, right? What would you prefer, a Max goal or a Zardes goal? What would get you more hyped? Not which one would you prefer, just which one would get you hyped? Zardes?
Max.
I'm on the Max boat.
Max.
Okay. As a fan, Max would get me more hyped, but I think Zardes would make our jobs a lot easier.
See, I Zardes is like past.
I really care about.
I really do think Zardes is past that point. I don't think no matter what he does now, he had those 2 months of stretch that like it's not gonna make it any easier. So that's what I want Max, because I think he's still get a lot of criticism, because even if he does score 10 goals this month, which is fucking insane, right? Like, gonna be crazy. Like, he scores them, and everybody's gonna be like, okay, where was this 2 months ago? When was this? When they were still fighting for that home position in the playoffs instead of that last spot. So I rather see Max for the vibe. I rather see Max for like, hey, there's a young kid they brought in. There's a young kid that is gonna be a part of the future, and he's starting to show signs of life. Give me it every single time. So I'm all in on the Max train, even though I love a Zardes goal.
I was talking to Keegan today, and then I was like, man, you got Wallace scoring all these goals, right? Like, you're due for your annual howler from the outside the box, right? I was like, are you gonna get it this time? And he seems pretty hungry for a goal. He's like, I've gotten really close this year. Maybe that's gonna be my prediction. Is Keegan gets one from just a fucking blaster from like 20 yards, 22 yards, just something, put it in the corner, just bury it.
Cody wants just to get Warner's reaction.
The first I don't care what Wanders is doing. If we ever get a Zardes hat trick, I'm making him come on the post game, and we're just gonna read comments about how much people love Zardes. That's it. I'm just gonna find tweets, YouTube comments. It's just gonna be the whole show is how much people are loving on Zardes when he gets that.
Dude, give me a Zardes hat trick, and
Can you imagine? I would lose it.
Give me a Zardes hat trick, and I'm texting Juaners every single goal for like 10 minutes straight, just like over and over again, the highlights of the goals, and be like, "What up, Juaners? How you doing now, buddy?"
What would Rapids fans even have to talk about if that happened? Like,
man, they'd find something. Yeah. They'd find something. We're trying something to complain about.
I don't know. I think it'd be like, do we re-sign him next year? And then everybody would remember the first 2 months, and it'd be like, never mind, I don't want this. Like,
I don't know. I don't think it would be the worst thing because I don't think he'd be a GP.
That's going to be the debate for sure.
Outside of Max, is there a fulcrum piece to this game? I say yes, and I think that it's going to be Jonathan Lewis. He has been working that left flank so hard. He's been beating everybody, getting around and getting to that top corner of the box where it's like either to Zardes, to Rubio behind him, or over the top to Barrios or Nicholson, right? And it's been pretty consistent for the past 4 games, I think, since maybe 4 or 5 games where he has just been burning that left side. I would love to see an assist or a goal off of that, but Rubio kind of being in the middle has been really good about finding him on those runs. One thing I noticed.
I will say that J-Lu has gotten a lot better on those crosses too. His last game, he had a lot more accuracy, a lot more height. He was kind of seeing the box a lot better. So I do have high hopes that he's going to be able to get an assist this week. Either it be against LA or whether it be against Orlando coming up tomorrow. I think he's going to get one of those assists on a header to Zardes here pretty soon.
Let's go. Yeah, so guys, we're going to have a post-game show Wednesday. You might see me from my hotel room in Durango, Colorado if there's a big win. My wife will love that. But last hat trick, hold on, Joseph has a good stat here before I get into all that. Last Rapids hat trick was Dom Badgie against Philly. There you go. Give me that Rapids hat trick and I'll never let Juan live it down. No, there's no way. It would be a banner day for the Juaners haters.
Who's going to be willing to bet Juaners like a tattoo that if Zardes scores a hat trick?
I also think Juaners would be stoked if Zardes got a hat trick.
He would.
He would, dude. Juaners loves the badge. He doesn't love the players.
He wants Zardes to be good.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just been totally pumped. He would be totally pumped.
Juaners, I do respect Juaners because he's all for the badge. No matter whether he likes the player or not, even though he criticizes them, he's all for the badge. So, 100%. He would be super hyped.
100%. So, we have post-game Wednesday. Yaya's going to take over the game thread on Twitter, from what I understand. So, get ready for some fire tweets, a lot of GIFs, a lot of memes. That's the Yaya style for real.
Yeah, my game thread, you can tell when it's me or Mitch. My game thread is like, what the fuck are you doing? Here's something to explain how I feel.
But that's what, it's nice to have different personalities covering that. Same thing for Saturday. I'll still be out of town at this wedding. So Yaya will be taking over there. I will not be able to get on that post game. I will be on an airplane during the post game. So can't do that, but we'll be back next week. Potential special guest. ... question mark. Not gonna drop too much, but Studio B is ready to go upstairs even during all this bar construction.
Is that Studio B or Studio C?
Well, Studio B no longer exists because it's Merch World now.
Yeah, I think it's Studio B. Well, if anybody doesn't know, we're gonna have a big studio upstairs, and then we're gonna have 2 studios in the bar, and then we're gonna have another studio downstairs at the bar. Yeah, that's going to be for special events. So we're going to have a lot of places to be doing all this crazy shit from coming up here pretty soon.
When we reopen, to whoever's watching, in addition to Cody and Joseph, man,
it's a weekday afternoon.
I know it's Tuesday. People are at work. But they'll watch it later. Man, you are missing out if you're not at DNVR Bar watching the Rapids
Woo, it's gonna
and
be
hanging out
sick,
with
dude.
us. It is going to be insane. It's going to be so much fun.
So
That
just so
first road game,
and
that
just so
first
you
road game
know,
is gonna be unreal.
yeah, and just so you know, because I think Mitch knows this because he's watched a couple of Rapids games with me. When I watch any kind of sporting event, I start cussing in Spanish immediately. That's like the first thing that's the first thing that comes out of my mouth. Like I can't even think of anything to say in English. It just
Well,
all
it's
comes out
perfect.
in
It's the only
Spanish.
time I get to use my kitchen Spanish from my time managing restaurants and bars. So it's
Literally,
perfect.
like I become like a total degenerate in Spanish whenever I watch any sporting event.
It's the only time my vulgar Spanish words come into play. So yeah, guys, follow along. It's gonna be an interesting month for us. I've been having some good conversations over at Dick's, and hopefully we have some nice guests come on. Just really get into it, man. I still, just because the season's not going great doesn't mean we can't have good coverage and give you guys good coverage and good content. We're here for it. Obviously, Duane joining the team over the last month or so has been great for us. We love having him.
And I'll be at 123 tomorrow, row 9. Come visit.
Yo, come say what's up.
We've always got empty seats bias, so come hang out.
We got and once I'm back, so it'll be post Seattle, the game after Seattle. I'll be back at Dick's during games. Mm-hmm. Me and Duane will do a little meetup, kind of like the Nuggets guys used to do at Ball Arena at halftime. We'll do a little halftime meetup.
I'll start heading down there a little bit more now too. Now that the whole wedding stuff is over, and I finally
now that you're married, man, and you to get out of the house. Yeah.
Now that I finally have everything acclimated, I'll definitely be heading to more games this year.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll have a little perch hangout where DNVR Rapids supporters and the community can just get together, say what's up, meet some new people, meet some like-minded fans. It's definitely on the list. You can also find me almost before every game I cover. I'm almost always down at the C38 tailgate. Got to get some of Dev's hot dogs, man. I mean, he cooks them up better than anybody. And you get to see what's up. Everybody's there. So, yeah, that's going to do it for us. Duane, you got anything to plug?
Man, you know me. I'm always gonna plug that sweet DNVR merch.
Let's go.
So
plug for me, baby. I love it.
Yeah, get your DNVR Rapids scarf, man. That thing is cool. T-shirt, man. You can be one of the kids at the Dick that's not wearing the same thing as everybody else. So
yeah, get your up the pid scarf, man. It's important. Yeah. What do you got to plug?
As always, if you want to hear my sports takes about the Rapids and about myself, Yahir G underscore Vazquez. I don't know where the hell it is. See my fat finger and follow DNVR underscore Rapids on Twitter too. Mitch does a great job of running that account. He tries to attract as much as he can. So always follow that account. Follow us on YouTube or follow us anywhere you see DNVR. Me and Mitch are going to be involved anywhere.
TikTok. I'm going to try and put up something on TikTok every practice I go to. Just a little something. No one else is doing it. We do it better than anybody anyway. So we'll get into that game a little bit. Follow us there. Follow us on Instagram. You may follow us. Get your merch, like Duane said. Put me to work. I am Merkel after all. Go to DNVR.com. Get your subscription there. Get your annual subscription. You get a free shirt. You get all sorts of coverage. And once the bars open up, you get member beers, which rule. You get the big beer for the price of the small beer. That adds up real quick. Between the free shirt and the beer, you're going to pay for the membership without even once reading an article, although you should read all the articles as well. Like and subscribe on the YouTube page. Give us those thumbs up. Super helpful in the algorithm. We really appreciate when you guys do that. Follow me on Twitter, Mitch__Carroll. Trying to get that check mark, baby. It's still not there, but it will be. But more important than all of that, what we always say, up the pig.